This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, first of all, thanks to Murli. Murli happens to be my college friend, and thanks for having me over here to give a session on time management to young and vibrant audience. Uh, I believe there are about 13 participants now, and people would be likely joining in more. So, first of all, am I audible to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So, well, well, Murli has given a brief introduction about myself. Basically, I am a retired army officer who had put in 22 years in army, and now I'm into consultancy, basically into security solutions and all. So that's about me. So welcome to all of you, particularly during this unprecedented times. I hope you people are, fit and fine, staying safe. So, with that as a prelude, let me come on to the topic. Uh, I would be doing a lot of talking today rather than going in for a PowerPoint presentation or a slideshow, because this topic is a very generic topic, which is actually given very least importance in our day-to-day life. So, since it is something related to time, and we are going to spend around 1.5 hours for this session. So I would request you all people to be a little attentive because we are going to manage time. So when I say to be a little attentive, it doesn't mean that it's not like a sort of an examination or something like that. It is something that you have to just listen to what I'm saying, and if you are sitting in your comfort zone, you can be a little alert so that you try to understand the nuances of time management in the right perspective. And what I expect after my session is, uh, once the session is done, you should be in a position to summarize the entire thing, say in 15 minutes or so, and should be able to present the same thing to an audience. So it could be your own parents. Believe you me, this topic is something which even gets neglected by many people, and it can happen to an adult also. So whatever you are going to understand today, if you can summarize the entire thing and talk to your parents, it will be a learning experience for them also. I come from an army background, so generally, because of our grueling schedules and all, we have been adhering to a little bit of time management. But believe you me, for preparing a session for youngsters like you, I also did a little bit of study, and there was a lot of knowledge for me also once I went through the complete uh, session. So I started off with a word called as unprecedented times. So time is very much relevant. So what do you think? What has come to a standstill? Is it time or life? Let me put it across in a different manner. Uh, as far as time is concerned, it is still moving on at the same pace. How about life? Life also is moving at its own pace. Only thing is that we are, living in a constrained environment now. We are living with a lot of restrictions. We are not able to move out. So nothing has come to a standstill. Everything is moving. Uh, for example, to have a session like this, we have managed to organize something like this, a webinar sort of a thing, so that we can interact. So we are finding out our own means to, utilize time in a better way. And I strongly believe that we human beings can fight against any odds, and this particular phase will be over. So with that as the backdrop, let me come on to my session, which is on effective time management. Before going into the practical aspects of time management, let me give you a spiritual perspective of what is something known as effective time management. So, when we talk in spiritual terms, there is a close relationship between time management and mind. It's something related to mind healing. So the basic aim to understand time management is to declutter our mind so that we remain totally calm and composed at any point of our life. So there is an importance of valuing time. So if we have to take into account what are most valuable things in a human life, uh, broadly it can be summarized in as five. First is thoughts. Second is something called as karma, or the activities that you are going to do. And third is health, and the next is wealth. And then there is something called as time. And if you, I'll repeat it again. So first is thoughts, second is karma, third is health, wealth, and time. And if you just analyze all these five things which I said are invaluable in our life, we give certain degree of importance to all of them except one, and that is time. Now, regarding thoughts, we give a little amount of importance to thoughts. We try to, you know, think about a lot of things, plan things, and as far as karma is concerned, we are supposed to do some activity, so we again are focused towards that. Health again is something which we are totally focused because we again value our health, and our parents are there to take care of us, of our health and everything. Wealth, yes, whatever we are doing, we are uh, aiming to succeed in life and get a reasonable amount of wealth so that we can sustain our life. Now comes time. Time is something which we actually take it for granted. We never have any formal academic sessions on time management. It is taken for granted. You feel that okay, it happens like that. So we never ever give much importance to time. So let us now evaluate what is time. So time is something which moves at a constant pace. What used to happen uh, some 2000 years back, the time space at that time and even now is the same. It's not changing. So time doesn't accelerate, it doesn't decelerate, it doesn't slow down, and neither it stops. It's moving at a constant pace since ages. So it's something like unidirectional. So anything which is done, it is done. What we do at this particular moment, it is done. You can't undo it after some time. So that is how time actually moves. Now, when we have to understand the importance of time, let me talk about time in terms of three realms. You people are young people. People might be watching Marvel series also. So there also they talk in terms of realms, different planets, different galaxies, and they talk in terms of realms. So in that way, just to make it a little so that you can also get aligned with what I'm saying, let me talk about the realms of time. This is more related to the spiritual aspect of time. So there is something called a past, there is something called as a future, and there is something called as present. Now let us understand each of these three things. Now, past is something which is gone. You might be having good experiences in the past. You people might be having, bad experiences in the past. Now, if we start thinking about that in the present, getting overwhelmed because of something which has happened so good in the past, or getting totally perturbed or totally getting upset because something bad has happened in the past, it's actually causing a wastage of time in the present. So that is the you know basic thing, but that is particular to this past. Now let us analyze the future also. Future is something which is uncertain. We don't know what is going to come. So it's always good to plan. You can have a little bit of short-term plan, or something like immediate plan, or a short-term plan, or a long-term plan. And once you've made a plan, you should not keep on thinking about it. It's like going into a false imagination. You should not be wasting time on more planning. So if you've made a plan, to stick to that plan, you have to work in the present. So the present is the time when which is in your hand, and it's the execution time. So past, future, it doesn't have much of importance as far as time management is concerned in comparison to present. So that is the complete nutshell. Now there are two aspects which actually creates problem when you want to do something in the present which is constructive. These two things are, one is laziness, and the second aspect is distractions. Now, what is laziness? Laziness is something like, becoming casual towards a particular task. For example, you have planned something to do in a particular slot of time, and you are becoming a little casual towards that. That is actually amounting to laziness. Why this comes up, I'll discuss this thing once I cover up on the practical aspects of time management. Second is distraction. You want to do a work, and you'll find that your phone is buzzing, or you get a call from your friend, or for example, if you're sitting in the balcony and doing some work, you'll find some noise which is distracting you, so you're not getting focused. So that is another thing which actually consumes a lot of time when you want to actually work in your present. So these are the two aspects. Now, how to overcome these two things, I'll discuss when I talk about the practical aspects of time management. So this is just to summarize the spiritual aspect of time management, just to orient you in such a way that whatever you do for time management, it has got a direct relationship with your mind. Because if you're not planning your things, or you're not managing your things as per your schedule, and you're not being an effective time manager, it is actually going to clutter your mind, and you'll feel totally tired. So, as the saying goes, time and tide, waits for none, and you know, time does the fair share. So, whosoever has utilized time in the present, they will be certainly rewarded in the future. And to take out this laziness and distraction in a spiritual way, I can say that it is to have a lot of positive thoughts in your mind. How to inculcate that, I'll come on to that. So this is just in a nutshell, just to orient you towards the spiritual aspect of time management, which has got a direct inclination towards your mind healing. Now let us discuss about the practical aspects, which I am more keen to talk based on my own experiences. Now, when we talk about practical handling of time management, first thing that we are going to do is analyze time. So how do you relate time? So if I ask you, okay, how do you relate time? You would say, okay, I relate time with a clock, with a time, with a timepiece or a watch. That's how I actually relate time. Or you might say, okay, there are 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes to an hour, uh, 60 seconds to a minute, and it can further be broken down in milliseconds, microseconds. So that for that you have to be a superhuman. So our effort is not to become a superhuman being. It's basically to become a normal human being. So let us keep our finite limit of time management of 24 hours a day. So we will do a complete analysis of this 24 hours. Since it is easy to comprehend time in terms of numbers, let me break this particular time band into three parts. I have taken up the standardized uh, thing because 24 hours is a normal standard. The only difference is related to the zone where we are. For example, you people are following an EDT. I'm following an IST because here it's nighttime, there it's the daytime. That's the only difference. Otherwise, 24 hours is a common standardized thing applicable for a day. So we break this 24 hours into three parts. I'll come on to the reason. I'll tell you the reason why I'm breaking it into three parts. So if you divide 24 by 3, so you have got 3 slots of 8 hours. Uh, First slot of 8 hours, it is your sleeping time. To have a very, sound, body and mind, you need to have at least 8 hours of sleep. So that is the basic requirement. So that's why I said the first 8 hours is meant for sleep. Now you're left with 16 hours. So again, two parts, 8 hours, 8 hours. So the second part of 8 hours is actually meant for your academic session because you people have to go to school. So I take it on average, it takes around 8 hours going to the school by bus and you're coming back, attending the classes. So normally it might take 8 hours or even it might be lesser than that. So whatever is remaining now, 8 hours is the time that is left with you to do the things that you are going to plan. So this is as far as standardization of time is concerned. 24 hours, you're broken into three. 8 hours sleep, it is something which is not negotiable. Everybody has to sleep for 8 hours if he wants to effectively manage time. Now let us talk about something called as individual own time. So this 24 hours concept I told you, this 24 hours, if you ask a successful person, he also has this 24 hours only. He doesn't have 30 hours in a day for him. And if a person who is relatively not so successful, if you ask him, he also has the same 24 hours. He doesn't have 20 hours in a day. So that span of 24 hours is standard. Now, where lies the difference? Now, the difference is actually in the individual own time. For example, if I give a generic task to say a person called as Rahul, and if that particular task takes around 1 hour, I've allocated around 1 hour for that particular task. Probably he might be able to do that task within 30 minutes. And the same task, if is given to me, probably I might take around 55 minutes. Though both of them have completed the task in 1 hour, but our own individual times are different. So to have an effective time management, we have to work upon our own individual time. Now, there are four things which actually enhances this individual time. First is focus and concentration. Uh, for example, now since you are attending this session, uh, uh, people who would have been focused and a little attentive, uh, I'm sure they will be if you tell them to give a talk for 15 minutes on whatever you have just heard about. Possibly after this talk, they will be able to frame the entire thing in an hour or 2 hours. And people who would not have been so attentive, not so focused, they might be requiring the recording of this to just recapitulate, and then they will be able to make that right. So the same thing applies everywhere. So how to improve upon your personal individual time? The first factor is being focused and attentive, whatever you're doing. For example, since you people are all studying from home now, uh, so basically when you are uh, going to attend a session, or you you have to be in a proper workplace, or a study place, so that there is least amount of distraction. For example, it should be something like where it's decently lighted. You have got a good table and a chair to sit, a place where you can sit upright, rather than slouching. And there should not be you should be against a wall so that there is no distraction in the front. You should not be sitting in a balcony where there are a lot of distractions outside, and which causes a little bit of distraction. But there are people who can focus still. But still, it's always better to be in a workplace which gives you least amount of distraction, and you are attentive. When I say focus and attentive, it can only happen if you had that 8 hours of sound sleep. Your mind is totally energetic. Your body is also totally energetic to take on things. So that 8 hours sleep is very much mandatory for time management. And after that, whatever you're going to focus or concentrate, it will start registering in your mind. So that is the first thing. Second is developing a skill. If you are attending a session or you are doing a thing, and it is unavoidable, if you feel that okay, this is something that I have to do, or this is a thing which is unavoidable, and make it interesting. In the sense, whatever you are learning, once you are totally concentrated and try to understand the nuances of that, then it becomes it's like a skill development. You are developing that skill. You are understanding it, the nitty gritties of that particular task. The third aspect is experience. As you keep on repeating the same thing again and again, it's like adding on to your experience. So all these things are actually working on reducing that your own personal time to do a particular task. That means you are able to squeeze your time to do a thing faster. So first is concentrating, second is developing that skill and repeating that. For example, if you are attending a session in the class, you have to come back and revise. So when you do that thing, it becomes like an experience. So that it will always be registered in your mind. And the fourth thing is, it is called as uh, natural ability. That is something which is inborn. These are actually related to your genes. So that factor is also there. So if you take out that and just concentrate on the remaining three, you are all in a state wherein there is no difference. You can apply all the three, and then accordingly you can be an effective time manager, because you are actually working upon your own individual time, so that your efficiency actually improves. Now that one part of 8 hour which has already been consumed for sleeping, the remaining 2 8 hour slot, which is there of one, which is there wherein you have to attend the academic sessions. There also you can save upon your own personal time. I'll tell you how. So if you had a sound sleep in the morning, you have come to the class, So as the teacher is imparting the lessons, if you are focused and attentive, you will be able to register that thing there itself. If you're able to register it there itself, once you come back to your home, the amount of time taken to revise actually minimizes. But if you didn't have a sound sleep, you have come to the class with a little bit of lethargy, the laziness starts sinking in. So you would be attentive in the class, but the things won't be getting registered the way it should have had you had a sound sleep before. And if that is the case, once you go back home, you will take a little bit more time to, you know, revise that thing and, get it registered. And if you're not able to do it in that stipulated time which you have given for, revision, that remains like a backlog. And by the time you go to sleep, you're sleeping with a cluttered mind. So that is the complete cascading effect. So it all starts from your sleep time. Good sleep time, thoroughly energized, focusing on each and everything, you will find you are saving up on time. And I'm telling you, this is not any rocket science. We should not be underestimating our brain. Since I spoke about Marvel series and all, you people might be well versed with Black Panther and all. He wears a vibranium suit. So anything that hits him, it actually absorbs more kinetic energy, and he becomes more energized. It is something like that. So if you exercise your mind and stick to the proper time management things, you will find that your mind is able to take on more things. It is like energizing the mind. You're not getting bogged down. You feel so much energized in the evening when you recollect what you have done in the daytime. You will feel that okay, I have actually managed my time well. Whatever I had prioritized, was able to go as per that. And now I will have a sound sleep, and I'll be charged up again the next morning. So it actually goes like that. So it is like that, and it only requires a little bit of practice, and it is possible. I'll tell you how you can do that. Another thing you should know about is something called as capacity and ability. You might be talking about your own friends, telling that this chap has got immense capacity, he has got immense capability, he's a damn intelligent guy. But there you would be finding people who might be very intelligent, but they are not applying themselves. So that's the difference of capacity and ability. So capacity is the store that is there with you, and whatever capability is there with you, you need to exploit that capability. So that willingness to exploit that is the ability. So this too has to come up. So once you work upon your individual time based on those four factors I told you, then you need to understand your capacity also, and you should actually work on to become able, willingness to take on things, apply yourself. So this is also very much relevant when we are talking about time management. Now, I come from an army background. I commanded around 1,000 men during my last tenure, and there was a complete team, having different functional roles. Some related to operations, some on administration, transportation, security, training. So there were a lot of teams which I had to handle. Okay, I'm not a superhuman. I'm also a normal guy. So there is nothing like I being a superhuman able to manage those many people. Managing a particular team also is time management. If you ever read history and uh, just read something about Chanakya also, you know, who wrote Arthashastra, and his advice to his king also was the same thing. Uh, he tells the king, he says, okay, if you want to manage a kingdom, first of all, you have to be a good time manager at personal level. And second is that you have to identify your own subordinates, your own ministers who are effective time managers. If you are able to do these two things, you can effectively rule the kingdom. And it's actually a fact. So you have to first work on time management at personal level. So that requires a little bit of practice. If I, look at your engagement as a student, what are your engagements like? So it would be, going to the school. You need some time to uh, do some exercise. If you are a fitness freak, you need some time for leisure. You need some time to play, and you need some time with your friends. You need some time with your own family. These are the broad things which are applicable to you people in your life. Uh, so uh, now, how to practice? How to actually get into that grid of becoming a time manager at personal level? Let us actually analyze that first. So, 8 hours of sleep. I already told you. You have to decide what is that 8 hours. It is always better to have a continuous 8 hours sleep rather than breaking it. You can't have 2 hours of sleep and then taking a break another 2 hours. You can't break it down, because if it is a complete 8 hours sleep, it actually refreshes your entire body and mind. So it should not be in breaks. So you have to take that 8 hours sleep. So effectively, if you have to get up at say 6 o'clock in the morning, or if you want to be a little lenient, based on your school timings, if you want to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, you need to sleep either at 10 o'clock in the night or 11 o'clock in the night. And the first and foremost thing is that you plan your sleep time. This is the first thing you should practice to become a good time manager. So you slot your sleeping time, because that is the thing which is going to energize you for the next day. So if I say, okay, you have to uh, up by 6 o'clock in the morning, you have to sleep at 10. So 6 o'clock, if you have to get up, uh, first thing that you should do is that learn to work under no supervision. Okay, there are some people who actually like to work under supervision. If somebody is seeing or if somebody is telling, then they start doing things. We need to inculcate a habit of working under no supervision. There is no requirement for anybody to tell me what should I be doing. I should be able to frame my own thoughts if I generally know what I'm supposed to do. So if I'm an effective time manager, I should be able to plan my own things in a way so that things move smoothly. So 6 o'clock, if you want to get up, you have to set the alarm at 6 o'clock, and slowly, possibly it might not happen instantly, but over a period of time, when you make a concentrated effort, you will be able to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Some people have got a habit of building some cushion time. Once the alarm is on, then they feel okay. I need some 15 minutes of more time. Just to make up my mind to get up. So for such cases, it is always better to set the alarm for 5:45 rather than keeping it at 6 o'clock. Then only you will be able to get up at 6, because 6 o'clock getting up is important. So over a period of time, once you inculcate that habit, you will definitely get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. It is, you know, you have to be focused to do that. And if you had a sound sleep of 8 hours, you'll automatically get up at 6 o'clock. If you have slept late, yes, there will be a problem to get up at 6 o'clock. It's there. And second thing is that to become an effective time manager is whatever you're planning, be punctual. These are certain things which is based upon my own personal experiences. Since army has got very stringent, time schedules, you have to be in time. I can give you an example during our academy days. This particular thing was, stressed upon. In your barracks, the lights had to be off at 10 o'clock. Okay, so that morning 6 o'clock, when you have to go for the PT following, you have to be thoroughly energized. And believe you me, from 6 o'clock in the morning, right from PT till evening, we used to be charged up. And that was only possible because of a sound sleep. We would have done the entire thing as per schedule. And by the time it is the evening, the moment we hit the bed, we we fall asleep. That's something like, a proper decluttered mind, enjoying uh, a proper rest. So that's what I said, that 8 hours of sleep is mandatory. So 6 o'clock, if you set an alarm, you should be able to get up at 6 o'clock. And rest of the things, whatever you have planned, be punctual. If you have to be in school at say 8 o'clock in the morning, you should be there by 7:55, at least 5 minutes before that. Similarly, for any classes that you're attending, you should not be, moving around. If the class is starting at say 9 o'clock, you have to be there 5 minutes before that. Or else, for example, if you have got something like this session, if the session was to start at 7:30 here, 7:30 in the evening, you should have been there by 7:25. That's a good habit of being before time, 5 minutes before. This is actually building upon your own personality of becoming an effective time manager. You know, getting up at the proper time, planning your schedules, and doing your things by being punctual. That was the second thing that I emphasized upon. Third thing which I want to tell is it's always good to log your activity. Whatever activity you are doing, it's always good to log your activity. Again, it is not something like, you make a laborious effort, you do a detailed analysis or nothing like it. So whatever you're planning in the day, that activity should be prioritized. You should know, okay, these are 4 or 5 things which are my top priority things which I have to do. Rest is something which I'll be doing if I'm able to conserve my own personal time. But the prioritized thing you should be able to do, and by the evening time or the night time before you go to sleep, if you can recollect that thing, what are the things that you did in the complete day? If you feel you want to log it somewhere, it is okay. But these days, you people are all, uh, uh, smartphone savvy, and you can use any app. You can use even Google Calendar or any app, which helps you to plan things. Uh, my aim of telling you this to log it down, or you know, uh, log it in using an app like this, is to not make you mechanical. You should understand the difference between becoming mechanical and becoming an effective time manager. When I say, if for example, you have planned certain things and you're not applying all those things, which is applicable for you know utilizing your own personal time, what I had spoken earlier, like focusing, concentrating, trying to take that whatever I'm doing, it is actually going to enhance my skill. It is actually building my own experiences. The moment you take it in that perspective, till the time you don't do it, it will not be a time management. For example, you have to attend a class for 1 hour. If you're not attentive, it is not time management. It is, you're becoming mechanical. You don't have to become mechanical. I can give you an example of, you can take example of, if not your mom, at least your grandmom. Okay, people who have been good homemakers. Have you ever seen them preparing a lunch or a dinner? They can prepare, a 5 course meal in just 2 hours. It's damn easy for them. And if the same task, if I have to do, first of all, I'll have to go through some, YouTube channel to understand how to make a particular dish, and it would take me around 5 to 6 hours. So that expertise of the super mom comes from the same thing. When she would have started, it would have been just focus and concentration. It became a skill. Repeated that, it became an experience. And now for her, there is, it's done easy. So her own personal time has reduced considerably, and she has got more time for something else. So that is the importance of that. Now, practicing, I told you, getting up in time, being punctual, logging things, using an app to manage time, not becoming mechanical. One more thing which I want to tell you is that have the ability to say no. I'll tell you why I'm saying this. If you have planned something, you're doing something, and in middle of that particular session, you get a distraction. You get a call from your own friend's WhatsApp group saying that, yeah, let us have a video chat. Just next 5-10 minutes, let's have a video chat. So my telling you, my aim of focusing on this is primarily to orient you. Don't give a impulsive yes. Try to negotiate. Okay. If you find that thing is not of much importance, yeah, it is some, because these things are also important. I never ever, I don't say that you should not socialize. Socializing is very much important. But if you are concentrating on a particular thing, and if you get a distraction like that, try to negotiate. You can say, okay, well, let's have it on a weekend where my time is little flexible. We can have a chat session during the weekend. Try to negotiate and be a good negotiator. But yes, if you find that something is very urgent which has cropped up, for example, if anybody has fallen ill or something, and therein it requires your own time, you need to act. That also is there. So when I say the ability to say no, it is a very important thing, so that you don't, you know, uh, you know, get distracted and you remain focused. So this is one more thing which is very much relevant. So these are the practical aspects of, you know, becoming an effective time manager at personal level, right? Now, since I've been told, this audience has got age ranging from 15 to 25, so there might be people who might be actually now, you know, after their student life, they might be looking for a job profile, or opening up on his or her own venture, something like that, right? So whatever you do to become a good time manager at personal level, that is going to help you when you move further. Okay, so it is something like, uh, now you're going to become a team member. Uh, so if you desire to be absorbed in a team comfortably without any hiccup, that is easily possible if you are a good time manager at personal level. Because people observe, when I said a person being punctual 5 minutes before, people note. Okay, they know that this person values time, uh, and he values his own time. So that means he will value others' time also. So such people are welcome in a team because they know this person is charged up. He values time. The entire thing which I told, sound sleep, focused, valuing time, punctual, that person is, welcome everywhere. So he gets easily absorbed in the team. You know, your own knowledge base or whatever that you're going to get in your life, it will start from this time management itself. So you get easily absorbed in the team. And now, as you progress further ahead, wherein you will be having somebody on your top, your own seniors people who are above you, and there would be subordinates also to you. So now you are, moving up the ladder. Again, if you have been a personally good time manager, your subordinates will value a lot. They know, okay, my boss who is here, he's an effective time manager because since he's an effective time manager, he has got time for everything. And when I say time available for everything, that not only for his professional aspect, even if he wants to show a little bit of empathy towards his subordinates, he will have time. Uh, he will find time for everything if he is an effective time manager. And so the subordinates also start valuing him. And when a subordinate sees that his senior is a guy who is a effective time manager, he also get aligned towards practicing becoming an effective time manager at personal level. Now, when we talk about own seniors, so what they're looking from you is if they see that okay, he himself is a good time manager and he's handling his subordinates also well, he can easily bank upon you at any point of time. You will be like, the crisis manager for him. Any damn thing which gets stuck, he knows if I give this task to him, he will be able to resolve it because you are an effective time manager. So that is how things progresses, and this is what even uh, Chanakya had told the king also. So this is how you are supposed to manage. You have to be a personally good time manager, and your own team, your own ministers, they should be good time managers. And if it's like that, then the entire system is like a well-oiled machinery. It runs very smoothly, and this is something is which can be done practically. There is no rocket science. So I gave you a perspective on time management in terms of spiritual aspect, wherein I spoke about time is something which moves at its own pace. It doesn't accelerate, it doesn't decelerate, it doesn't stop. And imagine something which has been happening since ages. At times we don't give much importance to that entity, that is time. We take it for granted. But if you do a little bit of effort, whatever I've spoken now, and even if you're able to do a 50% attempt of whatever I've spoken now, there will be a change. Uh, so I spoke about past, present, future. So past is gone, future is uncertain. The thing in your hand is present. Present is the execution time. So we have to value time. Then I spoke about the practical aspects of time. I took a band of 24 hours in a day, broke into three for a specific reason: 8 hours sleep time, 8 hours for academic session, 8 hours your own time. Standardized thing. So the only thing that is variable is your own personal time, for which you need to focus on four aspects. One is focus and concentration on whatever you're doing. Second is taking it as a skill set because you are doing something. You take it that okay, this is just adding on to my skill set. Third is repeating that to gain experience. Fourth is natural ability, that is gifted. If somebody has got that gift, it's a good thing. There are certain people who are gifted. For example, Sachin Tendulkar, he was gifted, so he excelled in the field that he was doing. But still, he had hard worked also. That also is there. It's not just his gift that propelled him to this level. So leave aside that natural ability, even if there is something like that. But remaining three, if you just concentrate on that, it will actually improve upon your own personal time. So what effectively it is doing is that in a short span of time, you are able to squeeze multiple things. So you are actually becoming a multitasker. And this is very much possible. It's nothing like it is going to, kill your mind. No, it's not actually going to do that. Our mind is actually, it's a thing which can absorb a lot of things. If you put things at the correct slot, mind gets bogged down only when anything becomes a backlog. It actually starts cluttering your mind. That is the thing which actually creates a problem. But if you have allocated a particular time slot, prioritized your things and allocated a time for that, and you have worked with all these four factors which I told, it is actually going to register there. And you, by the time, in the night, you are going to have your sleep, you will be sleeping with a clutterless mind. So that's the thing that it can do. Practically, how to become a good time manager at personal level, I told you. There are certain things which you need to practice. 8 hours of sleep, be religious, and then you have to get up at a particular time, get up at that time, plan your things, be punctual, uh, log things, what you've done today, just recollect things. It's a double-edged weapon. It's something like, it gives you a good feeling that what you've done in the complete day, and it is also something that is exercising your mind. Mind also needs some sort of exercise. If you start, recollecting things, it's actually giving an exercise to the mind. It remains always in a thinking mode. That is how a mind should be. It should not be in a sleepy mode. So if it remains in that state, it's adding on to the clutter. Then something I told, like saying no. Don't be in a state of saying an impulsive yes. Try to negotiate, because it is possible, and try to negotiate well. If you find that that thing is not of so much of importance, which you can do it later. So that is how it is to be managed. So whatever I have spoken just now, this is the entire thing which I wanted to speak, because I didn't want to make it very complicated. It should be something that you can relate and which you can practice. Uh, Once you do these things, then you have planned your entire thing, and you when you plan things, it's not just planning things only for academic sessions, or playtime or something like that. If you have if you exercise these entire things, you will find that you are able to save upon your own personal time, wherein you can devote time for many things. It can be, for a social cause also. It can be like, if you want to offer some help, how many times you would have asked your own parents, hey, mama or dada, I want to help you out. Until unless they tell you, okay, okay, you do this, because you have not done anything at home. If you manage time well, you will get some time even to ask your parents, do you need some help? It will come automatically. Okay. So that sort of empathy is also a part of your time management. So whatever time slot is there, you have got time for everything. Whosoever is an effective time manager, he will find way to give you time. Otherwise, if you ask people, and if they say, okay, I'm very busy, you're asking for something, very genuine, nothing related to, wasting time or something. If you're asking for something genuine to somebody, and if he says, I'm busy, let us talk later, okay, I'll come back to you. So those answers are an indication that the person to whom you're asked that particular question, is actually having a little cluttered mind, because he is actually, overburdened. And overburdening happens because the way you manage time. Okay, so for managing time, you have to prioritize things, and whatever had been your priority, you should be in a position to do that thing in that stipulated time by remaining focused. So that is very much possible, and that energizes your mind to take on more things in your life. So that's what I wanted to share. I hope you people would have got some insight on time management. And believe you me, when I started preparing for this thing, uh, it had given me also a lot of insight. Though practically I have been doing things, but when you start formally understand it, then you realize there are certain things which even even I have not managed time properly. So uh, so this is a good thing that you people can think about it, and if you can become, at this moment you have to practice becoming a good time manager at personal level. Rest, everything will fall in place as you move ahead. You'll find time for everything, right? So your mind is something like vibranium. It can take on things as it comes. You become more energized, right? And you sleep with a decluttered mind, and you remain energized every time. So there is a strong connect between effective time management and mind. So that's how I summarize this thing. So I'm done with my session, and I'm open to any questions. It would be nice to hear from young and vibrant people out there, and I would be happy to answer that.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjeev. We'll now open the session for everybody to unmute themselves, as they can put a question in the comment section, as well as you can unmute yourself, open up your video, and have a one-on-one chat.
Namaste, sir. I have a quick question.
Okay.
So sometimes, like, I wake up early and I try to organize my day, but sometimes I'm not able to prioritize my actions, and like there's a lot of things going on, so my mind is often cluttered. How do I declutter my mind?
Okay. So first of all, when you're planning something, you should be planning it in advance. For example, a day prior to what you are supposed to do. Uh, as the next day starts, if you had a sound sleep of 8 hours, your mind will be in a very flexible state to do a lot of adaptations based upon what sort of circumstances are coming in, right? So even if you have planned something, your main aim should be to at least do the things which I have prioritized. There might be priority 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even if you are able to reach, say, oh, you want priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, remaining to get missed out might not be of of much importance. Even if you are able to adhere to those three things, and by evening time, if you are able to recollect, okay, I could do justice to these three things, you will feel the you could do that thing. And second aspect is that when I talked about flexibility, uh, uh, your mind, if had a rest, proper rest in the previous night, it will remain adaptive. You can switch over. You can switch over so effectively. And initially also I said, a person who has been a good time manager, he will have a lot of cushion time. Cushion time is the time saved at his personal level. So you can utilize that particular time to do a work, and it will be done, right? But yes, something if very urgent has cropped up, which you couldn't avoid, which I said, okay, if something has come wherein you couldn't say no to that, and it had come all of a sudden, you need to do a little bit of adjustment. That is very much possible, but don't get bogged down by putting a template that you okay, I've made up my mind to do 10 things and I couldn't do even 7 out of that. Don't get bogged down. Keep that tempo. Okay, even if you have done 4 things out of that, that is also a good thing, good sign. At least you are trying to catch up. And since you are very young now, as you progress, as you make it a habit, you'll find that things are falling in place. And try to do things under no supervision. Nobody should be, I hope you're getting up on your own. You should not be looking for your parents to wake you up. The moment you start, doing that, make yourself so empowered. You will feel, you start automatically feeling that I can take on things. After all, it's all here in the mind. We used to have something called as a 5-kilometer run with all our packs on, and we had stipulated time for that. You have to cover that distance in say 21 minutes to come in excellent. And so we always used to say that running is not basically something related to your physical attributes. Your legs or your hands, your body should not be strong. More than that, your mind has to be strong. If you think that yes, I'll be able to do it in 21 minutes, you will be able to do it. And that used to happen. And that's the same thing which I want to tell you. It's all how you orient your mind. Just orient your mind around. Don't get perturbed. If you had a good sleep before, you will not get perturbed. Tune your mind. Yes, I cannot get perturbed. After all, there is a problem, there is a situation. I have to solve it, and I am in a position to solve it. You speak to yourself. You'll find things are falling in track. And while you're doing a thing, focus on that particular thing. Don't focus what is going to come next. At times we do this. Okay, for example, when I'm having this session with you, I should not be thinking about what I'm going to do at 9 o'clock in the night after the session is over. I will do it at 9 o'clock when that particular time will start. But at this moment, I will do this thing. So once you do this, by end of the day, you'll find that whatever you planned, at least 50% of that thing is over. The remaining thing is manageable. But if you keep on thinking about something to be done later, now, so you will be in a state by the end of the day where you wouldn't have done justice to anything. That is the only thing. So don't get bogged down by that's why I said don't become mechanical, rather become a good time management. And time management doesn't say that you have to run against the time. The time has to follow you. It will follow if you have focused to a particular task at that particular time without thinking much about there is something else which is going to come in the pipeline. Because if you start thinking about something that you do next, it is going to bring clutter to your mind.
Thank you, Sir Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Yeah, I don't know whether you have got some insight. Either you people have understood a lot of things, or you people are clueless. I hope you have got some insight, whatever I say.
Yes, Mr. Sanjeev, looks like everybody is very silent. Do we have any more?
If you want to send a chat message or something, you can do that. No issue. But
Hi,
I want, yeah, please.
hi, sir. I have a question about like saying no to people. For example, like you have a very important meeting with a friend that you never met since a long time, but at the
Yeah.
same time you have to study for like an important test. How can you
Yeah.
manage for both? But if you can't, how can you say no to which one?
See, if you feel that your friend has given you a call after so long time, okay, and it's like a gut feeling. So you feel, okay, he has called me after a long time. Don't say no at the way. I said, when I say no, it doesn't mean that you have to be very stubborn and say the no. No, it's not like that. I said you don't say yes very impulsive. Okay, you just think over it. And if you find okay, this person has given me a call after such a long time, you can say, okay, I'm in a meeting now. Still, I'll connect with you for 2 minutes. Let us have a 2 minutes chat now. Then I'll get back to my work. And then we'll have a long chat sometime in the late evening or in the weekend, so that he feels that you have not ignored him. And he also will understand that, yes, you're valuing time because there is something important that is happening with you. So give that 2 minutes to understand whether there is something urgent with him which needs a special attention. So you are giving some importance to him and you're not avoiding him at that particular moment. And then you're falling back, to have a longer session with him. So my saying that, saying a no doesn't mean that you should be stubborn and give a no at initial part. Just, don't be in a mood to give an impulsive yes. Okay. Just think about it. Just give 2 minutes, half a minute over it, and then you will be able to make your own decision. If you are a good time manager, your brain will be in a state to tell, okay, let me give him 2 minutes time, and I've got the capability to come back to my this thing because I've got enough of my own personal time. I can easily adapt, right?
Okay, thank you, sir. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Sir, I have one question actually.
Yeah.
Whenever when we're talking about time management, I think I miss some of the parts, but wherever I see the four divisions, like important, urgent, like non-urgent, non-important. When I especially in my personal case, when I try to when I try to list out the names, then it's always the issue is everything is urgent and important. I'm not able to fill in other categories.
Okay. This is something that you get from somebody else, or you
No,
make
it's
things.
my own task. It's my own
task. All tasks are urgent. Okay. So see, every task cannot be urgent, right? That is how life is. You have to prioritize. Even if you're made urgent everything, then I would recommend that you have to make urgent 1, urgent 2, urgent 3, urgent 4, because everything. If you make everything urgent, can you do so many things at this particular moment? No. You can do, a particular thing at this particular moment. If I'm, giving a session like this, in between this, if I'm watching my WhatsApp messages also, I'm not doing justice to this particular thing, right? I might be doing multiple things. That is okay, fine. But there is a little bit of casualness when there will be a little bit of casualness if I'm doing like that. So you cannot make everything urgent. So you have to develop things to, not make everything urgent. If you feel that everything is urgent, then allocate time for each urgent task. And if you find that even 24 hours is not good enough to complete your all urgent work, then actually you are not living like a normal human being. So you need to prioritize things. Okay, you can and when you get lot many urgent things in your kitty, you need to prioritize. And if something is there which is in excess, then you should drop that plan. If you feel that it is trying to create problem for you, you should try to don't keep that much of kitty with yourself. That can happen only if you work upon your personal time, and if you're able to do good justice to whatever have been prioritized well, and if you're able to squeeze time, then you can add on more things into your kitty. But till that time, don't try to keep everything urgent, because since you yourself are fixing it to be urgent. I've seen even higher managers, when they're sending a mail, they say everything is urgent. As a subordinate, I also, once I see all these urgent messages, I used to again prioritize which is urgent 1, urgent 2, urgent 3, urgent 4. some level of, I have to prioritize. I cannot be working on 6 urgent things together. So that actually will not do justice to any of them. So at personal level, if you are giving urgency to everything, try to prioritize that. Okay, don't make everything urgent. If you're making it, then you have to prioritize that. Or else you have to make stipulated time and see that whether you're able to do all urgent things as per the stipulated time. That's the only way out.
Yeah, theoretically it's working, but practically it's not working. And sometimes what's happening, I was getting fed up and I was not doing anything.
That's what I said. Okay. Yeah. Theoretically, yes, I understand. There is a requirement of a little bit of practice. Okay. And practice doesn't mean that you have to practice whatever you planned in your urgent schedule. That has to be there. But there are small things which actually adds on to this. First of all, let me ask you, do you have an 8 hour sleep regularly?
6 hours, yeah, 6 hours.
Yeah. So see, there itself the first compromise is there. Okay, you have worked upon 6 hours, so you have that 2 hours is gone, right? Because you might be feeling that, okay, I'll use that 2 hours to do more work. But believe you me, whatever work that you're going to do in that 2 hours, it will be a laborious thing to do because you are in that state of having a cluttered mind. So you need to come out from that. It might sound theoretical, but you try to do this. Have that 8 hours sleep, come what may, just practice it for just a week or so, and just try to align your priorities. And even if you're able to do 50% of the things that you plan in a day, and you recollect, you will be happy. Rather than what you said that I get so choked up that I at times I feel I should not be doing anything. No, it's a mind game. You have to orient your mind. Tell your mind, yes, I had a good sleep. Okay, now I'm charged up. It automatically happens. You cannot give up. That actually, if you start practicing that, then it will become a habit. It takes time. What you're saying is correct. See, I went into army after doing my engineering. Okay, so 4 years of engineering, where I and Murli were all together. So 4 years of engineering was damn good fun time. We had a lot of lax time with us. We had good time over there. But once I landed up in academy, they sorted me out. Okay, they I actually forgot that okay, I have done something called as engineering. They started, initially they started off with proper military training. They said, let me build up, a soldier in you before you become a technocrat. So, first you become a soldier, you become a person who's a good time manager, then everything will fall in place. And it's a fact. I started rising up early morning, 6 o'clock. I have to be at PT parade. I have to get up at 5:30, 30 minutes to clear the bathroom, be there in PT parade 5 minutes before that. Otherwise, again, there is a lot of punishment and all. So everything falls in track. And this, became a daily routine. It became a habit. And believe me, after today, I'm 48-year-old. I still continue with the same thing. I naturally get up at 6 o'clock. I don't, nobody, that thing has become a habit. It will become. Since you are at a young age, just tell your mind, I am there. My mind tells me that I can take on things. You tell yourself and you'll be able to do it. It's the positive thought that can orient you, and you'll find things will fall in place. 50% job done, good enough. Once you keep on practicing it, you'll see that you'll say, "Aan de yaar, kuch bhi aane do. Let me. I can tackle anything in my life. It will happen. Just believe your mind."
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for giving the most complex insights into like very simple way. Yeah, sound sleep for 8 hours, plan and track the day, ability to say no. But here my question is, like how to come out of the mindset like I am bored.
So why do you feel that you're getting bored?
Like I'm a parent, I hear that that sentence all the time from my kids. Whatever I do, whatever I plan, whatever I keep them busy, but they come out of that mindset, oh, I am bored, what do you want me to do?
Okay. So you keep them busy, or they themselves keep themselves busy and get bored? You give a plan to them, or they make a plan of themselves?
I plan for half day, but rest of the day I cannot plan. So
Okay.
rest they will plan with their gadgets.
Okay.
The only way for them to escape from the boredom is spending time on YouTube. Spending time on YouTube.
So how old is your kid?
8 and 6.
8-year-old and 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Right. I strongly feel this is a very young age to understand the nuance of time management for that age. Okay. I'll give you the reason why. You need, you certainly want your kid to explore his or her childhood, right? 8-year-old, 6-year-old, it's quite a young age to understand the nuances of time. So whatever you are telling to them, even if they're doing around, say, 25% of that thing, that is good enough. You should not be pressurizing them. Let them be curious. Let them explore the way they want. If you can give them a little bit of freedom, you can supervise a little, but you can give a little bit of freedom to make their own thought process what they want to do. Let them find out things on their own. By the time they become an 8th grader or ninth grader, as wherein they will be in a position to understand the nuances of time, because that is the time when they actually get into a grid where they understand there is they are in their senses to understand things. So that would be the right time to give them a perspective of time management and all. Till that time, go easy on them, and uh, give them the freedom to plan their own things and explore, be curious, and you will find things will come out well. Even my son is in class 11th now. uh, During his young days, I also used to pressurize him initially. Then I felt no, it's actually not giving any dividend. So he had certain interests, like he's good at keyboard and all. That was a natural thing that he was doing. We never told him or to practice this thing. And believe you me, as on date, that particular thing which he was doing on his own, that is the thing which he is actually excelling in today. So give them a little bit of relaxation. It's quite young age to tell them about time management or something. Let them attain that age of 14 or 12, 13. Then you can talk about time management in a slow manner.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So, as you're aware that we are at home right now, I want to
Okay.
stick to a timetable, but after 1 or 2 days, I don't feel
Yeah.
like to stick to that timetable. I always
Okay.
procrastinate, like watching a movie. How can I
Okay.
overcome procrastination?
Okay. So again, I said to overcome procrastination is that you should not be in a habit of postponing things, because that's the natural tendency. I told you there are two things which actually affects your thing that you're going to do in the present, right? First is laziness, and second is distraction. These are the two primary things which actually uh, takes you off and make you postponing things. So you have to work upon that. So laziness is something like becoming casual towards a task. So first and foremost thing, do you have 8 hours of sleep daily?
Yes, I have like more than 8 hours.
More than 8 hours. So you are in actually eating upon your constructive time also, right? So if you are going beyond 8 hours, that also is not a healthy trend. Though people say you should keep on, if you have more sleep, you are more sound. That's not there, because you need to activate your brain also. It may not be always in a rest mode. So first thing is that you try to plan that 8 hours sleep and try to get up after that 8 hours. You need to exercise this thing. Keep a template saying that okay, I will get up at 6 o'clock. You have to tell your mind, I have to get up. Okay. nobody will, there is no way out of, making a person work. You have to think, you have to exercise your mind, you have to have that positive thought. You should have the trigger in your mind that, okay, come what may, let me start with this. I'll get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, or whatever, 8 hours at 7 o'clock, since you're, at home now. So if you can be a little liberal, if you're planning to sleep at 12 o'clock in the night, you try to get up at 8 o'clock. Okay. Second thing is that you need to, do you exercise?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're doing a little bit of exercise, again, it should be in a limit, so that it should not be something that you drain down and then you're not able to do things further. Okay. So if you're having 8 hours sleep, if you do a little bit of meditation or an exercise, and then you're focused, you will be able to do that. Second thing is that distraction, which I spoke about. Try to avoid distraction. If you are doing your work, try to put your phone away. Okay, if you are sitting in front of you using your phone for studies, so then it's a different thing. But if you're using a PC, try to keep your phone away. And if you're using a PC, don't try to check your mail. Focus on that thing. Try to apply yourself. You will find that it is actually energizing. And there is one way, another way of getting focused. I told, if you're going to the class and you're listening a session, and if you want to remain focused, if you have just gone through the gist of that particular thing the previous day, okay, just to know what's going to be talked about tomorrow, just a casual run, 5 minutes read. Okay, these are the topics which are there. Generally, you have got some idea. Once the class starts, you will be naturally attentive. After that 8 hours sleep, you will be naturally attentive. You will try to understand, okay, whatever thing that you've seen the previous day, you would try to put that thing in place. And you will be in a position to make the session interactive. You will have your own queries, right? So that is the thing that will make it more, interesting, and you'll find you will be, evading that laziness. You will be out of that distraction, and whatever time slot you have allocated for that particular thing, you have remained focused, and it is becoming a habit. You will start practicing it. It will not remain for 2-3 days, and after that you're giving up. Never give up. Just tell your mind, yes, I am here to do things. I'm here to do things. I will do it. Who else will do? I'm the one who is supposed to do, right? So that is how you have to challenge yourself. And believe you me, at the end of the day, after a month or so, you will be, charged up. You will be charged up. It will become a habit. Give time. Don't give up after 2-3 days. Just try to make it for a month's time. Then you will feel, yeah, it's a normal thing to do.
Thank you.
Namaste, sir. I also had a question. I
Okay.
was just wondering, how do we
Are
increase
you
our...
twins? You're twins?
No, I'm 4 years younger than her.
Okay.
Yeah. So my question is, how do we increase our focus when, for example, studying? So I usually like to listen to music when studying, but I've heard from, I don't know, a lot of people, even my mother, she tells me not to listen to music when I'm studying because that may make me get distracted and everything. So I was just wondering, how do we increase our focus, and what is your take on listening to music while studying?
Okay. So initially I told you, there are some people who are gifted, who can practice multiple things at the same time. That is something called as a natural ability. And if you feel whatever you are studying, by playing music, you are able to register that thing. In a same manner, if you switch off the music and listen, then I would say you are a bit gifted. Okay. But if you find there is a time difference of registering things, if you stop the music and listen, vis-a-vis, when you are listening to that, by switching on the music, that means there is a little bit of distraction, which you might not be coming to know. For example, when I was doing work from home initially, when this lockdown thing started off, uh, I used to feel that, okay, now the environment has become so good outside. Let me sit in my balcony and start working, right? Believe you me, the moment I started working like that, everything was okay. The Wi-Fi was working fine, no problem. I could interact with everybody. But I found there are a lot of noise, our atmosphere. You find chirping of birds. At times you get a little bit carried away. You start feeling that environment. And for some time it was okay. Then I felt okay, there is some level of my efficiency which has gone down, my productivity which has gone down. And then I felt I should sit in a place wherein everything is proper. It should be a good environment. The economics should be good, and I should be able to do things for which I'm sitting now to do, rather than thinking about something else. So lesser the distraction, it is always good. But some people are gifted to take on multiple things, and that's what I said. If you feel that without playing music, what you're doing, is not comparable to what you're doing by playing the music. There's hardly any difference. Then I think you are in an okay place to do that. It's all individual thing. So if mom says not to play music and this thing, there is a reason why she's saying, which I said, because it's like a distraction. So you just see, without playing music, if you're reading the same thing, and by playing music, if you're reading the same thing, if it is not making much of a difference, and your focus still remains, it's up to you, right? Because I personally, at my level, I if I start listening to the music and then talk, I don't remain focused. You both are Murli's daughters?
Yes, uncle, we are.
Yeah, I could make out from your faces. Yeah.
Okay, we have one last question from on the chat, Mr. Sanjeev.
Yeah.
From Akshaya.
Okay.
We'll take that as the last question in the interest of time again.
Okay. Not able to see the chat session.
So she is asking, what if something is taking a lot of time, like for example, a homework, and we go off track of other things? How do we exactly plan for that? And how do we get in track again?
Okay. See, these sort of things will come up in your life, wherein you'll find there is excessive work that has been given to you to do at home. Okay, so that's why I said 8 hours time which you spend in your academy, in the classes, and 8 hours at home. Whatever you are studying in the classroom, to get that thing registered, you need to revise when you're back home. So you have got some stipulated time once you're back home to go through that particular thing so that it gets registered. So you have allocated that time. So that's why I say, if you are an effective time manager, if you had a good sound sleep in the previous night, and if you're in this class and listening to that attentively, focused, trying to register that thing there itself rather than taking it to the home without being so attentive, you will be saving upon some time at home. Probably you can utilize that time to do your excess homework which has come to you, and this can happen in almost all the classes. Okay, and I have seen many kids during our times also, who used to even do a little bit of homework in the school itself, right? They used to start writing there itself. It's a practice. I'm not saying to become like a robot. It's not like becoming a robot. It's since a person has has started building up that capability to take more things, becoming multitaskers in a short stipulated time. he will find, even a 5 minutes writing down in gaps to, to save up on time once you're back home. And, we all have gone through your age. There would be one or teacher who might be, giving excess load of homework and all. See, at the end of the day, you can do whatever is within your limits. At times, if you have poured in your heart to complete a job, and still there is something left behind, I think you can be a little lenient towards yourself, saying that yes, I have done full justice. If you, from your heart, you feel you have done enough of it, and even if something gets ignored, okay, you can take a little bit of that is applicable across the board to everybody, right? But try to practice these things, how to save up on time and utilize that thing to complete that thing. If it is not still not getting completed and it's actually becoming a super overtime affair, then you can go a little easy on yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjeev. And with that, we conclude our session today.
But before Murli, let me tell everyone that I would like to thank you for the complete audience and Murli in particular. And before I started my session, my only requirement with you all was that you will summarize the entire thing, and you will give a short brief to your own parents. You will feel yourself good, and your parents will be elated also. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr.
Good, sir. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for arranging this session. I think you are kind of unique when it comes to arranging these kind of sessions. Actually, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Raja.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sanjeev, on behalf of all the kids who have joined today, and also on behalf of Ontario Telugu Foundation, we sincerely thank you for your valuable time today and in telling us about effective time management and giving us your personal experiences as well.
You're most welcome. It's actually a humbling experience for me to give a talk to youngsters. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. And it's not only for the next generation, but this information that you have shared today is very valuable to each and everyone, especially time management. That's all what we have, and we don't have to. So every day we are running out of time, but we think we have all the time, which we don't. That was a great session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Murli. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.